All right, first off, I'd
Can you
like
hear
to
me
thank
all
you for
right?
doing this interview with the Hype Magazine tonight.
Oh, of course, man. Can you hear me all good?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right,
Great.
dope.
Let me make
To
it
get
short.
started, can you tell the fans and listeners who you are and where you from?
All right, yeah. So my name is Chip the Ripper, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Dope. Do you think being from Cleveland, Ohio, made it harder for you or easier for you to get into the music industry?
Um, I don't think it really, I don't think it really was that much of a factor. The kind of drive that I have. I
Yeah,
could have been from Wyoming or
yeah.
Alaska. It don't matter. I would have. I feel like I would have still did something.
Yeah. I love that you say that. I work with a lot of artists and they always make excuses for where they're from. But if you got that drive and determination, there's nothing going to stop you. What piqued your interest in being in the music industry in the first place? And what was one of the first steps you or your team made to, chase that dream?
Um, I feel like it was just all just based off the music. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to, I wanted to deliver something, musically. So, that was really my drive was the love. You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to get anything out of the game. I just wanted to just create at the highest levels.
Yeah. Now, when you started that with you being from Cleveland, where was the first place you went outside of Cleveland to perform? First time you were a national recording artist, or first time you left Cleveland on the music tip?
It probably was Chicago.
Okay.
I went from Cleveland to Chicago, and they received me with open arms out there. And it was a beautiful thing, man. Shout out to Chicago, man.
Now, did you have plugs out in Chicago, or how did you get that opportunity to go from Cleveland to Chicago in the first place?
Well, my story goes like this. Um, the music, as I'm coming out of high school, the music that I'm creating is spreading, going from high school to high school, and it's going all around, and it's bleeding into the clubs, and then the radio picked it up, and then at the same time, LimeWire is a thing. So LimeWire is like taking the music around. So by the time I got to Chicago, they already had it. You
Right.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just
Yeah.
from, and keep in mind, this was like all before like Instagram came out. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like this was like very early in the social media strategies of the music business. So it was real grassroots. It was real just word of mouth from the streets. And yeah, and then like I said, LimeWire, I think helped out a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing you say that because a lot of artists they downplay the Lime Wire and all the stuff that was available back in those days. But I like that you're saying it helped get your music across the globe quicker for you. I'm based out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and you've been a legend for a very long time, man. So I congratulate you on that. What was the first sign that you made the right decision to chase the music as your dream?
Um, you know, I guess just being able to support yourself from the
Yeah,
music. Being able to help others
yeah.
and use it to reinvest to keep on pushing forward. Once I saw that it was sustainable, then I'm like, yeah, we got something here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now I know you recently did a short film with Kid Cudi. You posted it on your Instagram. You and him have a really dope relationship. The "Don't Worry" song stands out to me. How did
Yeah.
you two link up, and what's it been like working together over all these years?
Man, shout out to Kid Cudi. That's my bro. We've known each other for many years,
Yeah,
and we met through a mutual friend. And yeah. The rest was we just kind of instantly saw the it in each other. You know what I mean? Like we and just clicked. You know what I mean? And yeah, we just been rocking solid ever since.
yeah. Now, on your journey of being an independent artist out of Cleveland, you've had a lot of successes, as we've highlighted. Like I said, you're a legend out here. What was one or two things you did early on in your career, you think, to help stand out or to make yourself the brand that you are today?
Um, I think the most important thing that I kept in mind, no matter what I was doing, was that I wanted to speak on behalf of where I'm from, and not speak to the people from that are where I'm from. And I wanted to represent us in a way where anyone who didn't know
Yeah.
could find something that's relatable to their culture, even if they didn't even live in America.
Yeah.
So I just always created all my content, whether it be the music, whether it be the visuals, or whatever, where I can have some kind of
Yeah.
relatability that was just abroad.
Yeah. You had the legendary project, the Cleveland Show.
Yeah.
Amazing concept, amazing record. You got that. Did you have any pushback for using the Cleveland Show? The image, and what was the response your hometown gave you when you showed love to them that way?
Man, surprisingly enough, I didn't get any pushback
Wow.
from the the original illustrators and copyright holders of the TV show. But I mean, we didn't necessarily use any of their characters. It was just a style that was easily identifiable, and you can like connect it to them. But yeah, they like I don't know if that it ever came across their
Okay.
radar or not, but I'm sure it did. But they probably just like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know
Now,
what I
did you
mean?
have anybody on your team or anybody in the camp that was like, "Hold on, we need to, hesitate on this"? Because a lot of time artists have these great ideas and they've got the visionary of what they want to do, and somebody in the camp tries to say, "No, don't do that; it's too risky." Did you have anybody give you pushback on that?
Not really, no,
Okay.
man.
Yeah.
My team at that time were my friends. I've never been on a record label, so um, all everything that I've done, even to this point right now, where I'm sitting now, has all been just done by just my friends and people that actually know and love me.
Yep.
And so it wasn't. We didn't really look at things like in a industrial way with red tape and stuff like that. We just kind of
Yeah.
like we knew that we were acting in good faith, and we weren't trying to like really kind of you know take anything or use anything to catapult ourselves from. So
Yeah.
we just kind of moved like that, and it was good, man.
Now, a lot of artists now, a lot of people say they want the independent lifestyle, but when you're coming up, everybody was pushing the major, saying that's the goal. What was it? What was it about your guys' strategy that led you stay independent, and how grateful are you now that you stayed independent over these years and have complete control over everything you're doing?
Man, you know what? Being independent has its peaks and valleys,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like how a bear has to prepare for that hibernation. You got to get enough food, or
Yeah.
animals try to stack their acorns, as they say. You got to have good strategies. You got to be a good steward of what does come, because there's gonna be some great good things that come from music when you're independent, and then when you're independent, there's also gonna be some dry spells,
Yeah.
just because of you know it may not happen now, but it'll happen as you keep on doing your thing. And when it does, you just got to have a plan for it. So I wrote an indie artist guide, actually,
Yeah.
Chip the Ripper's indie artist guide. It's on Amazon, and this volume one is on out right now for all the artists that are just kind of getting started. So I just wanted to write that because I get a lot of people asking me for advice, and I'm just like, man, why don't I just have a book?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was
yeah,
just about
man.
to ask you about that amazing thing you did for independence. The independent indie artist guide. I seen that Lazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony is holding it up for you. How's it feel to see the peers that you have all love the book, and the response that they're getting from what you created?
Man, it's surreal, man. I don't know if you can see, but I got on my Bone Thugs and Harmony chain right now. That lazy put this around my neck, man. Last time I saw him,
Yeah,
and it's an honor and a blessing just to know that such guys even know my name. It's an honor that Bone Thugs and Harmony even know who Chip the Ripper is, let alone support him publicly. Like Lazy Bone did with promoting the indie artist guide and getting on my albums.
yeah,
And it's just I love that hometown camaraderie, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's worth more than a lot of things to me for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bone. Like I said, people around the world we know who Bone is, but to Cleveland, Bone is it's it. Like you know what I mean. So give us a little story of how you guys met in the first place. I know you're from Cleveland, but how did you
Mhm.
actually get in contact or connect with Bone to where they would be this friend to give you that opportunity to wear the Bone Thugs around your neck? Like what was the first meeting you guys had?
Well, I mean, it's a thing where at a certain point we the mutual friendship became so vast because I was on my journey and I was gaining a name for myself,
Yeah,
which of course would inevitably just kind of make their radar.
yeah,
And them being the big brothers that they are, they took initiative to acknowledge that they saw me doing what I was doing, representing the city. And that I feel like that's what makes them such big icons to me, is when they can be on top of the world, but then they can see what's going on where they're
yeah.
from too.
Yep.
That's huge. You know what I mean? And they'll go down in history just for even without that, even without me knowing them or anything. So yeah, those are the gods, man. Living gods, man. Bone
Now, the
Thugs
Indie
Mountain.
Artist Guide, you said it's available on Amazon, and you said part one, so that hints at maybe part two or more coming. Is that something you're thinking about doing? And what's the motivation for creating part two?
Definitely, yeah. Well, the Indie Artist Guide Volume One is more of a basic, like it's for someone who's just now getting started,
Yeah,
just covering the basics. But then when we go to Volume Two, then we're going to go a little bit more in depth with the business
yeah,
and how things have kind of evolved since, like, the quote unquote standards that we learned about in the past, with the streaming now, with everything evolving, everything's changing.
yeah,
So there's different advice now, as opposed to the advice you would get in, like, like even 2012. You know what I mean? Like, it's way different. It's a whole different world now.
yeah.
So yeah, it's just a little advice to help with the next level.
Yeah. Now you said you were around before Instagram, more MySpace era stuff like that. How does it feel to see how far you've come throughout these years and all the new technological advances that are available to you? What are some of the tools your team or you are using in this new digital age we live in?
Man, yeah, you know, it's a lot always happening, always evolving. Like,
Yeah,
technology there's always different strategies you can use now with the new developments with software and even some hardware.
yeah,
I feel like AI is underused, and we're still trying to figure out how to get it to service us in the best way.
yeah.
Um, but I try to stay away from AI when it comes to, like, imagery,
Okay.
because I feel like the fans, if you take away that, then they don't really have much that's real. So I like to always make sure that the fans can at least get some real visuals. Um, but AI can be used in other ways, like marketing. Um, it can be used for verbiage,
Yeah.
just all type of ways, man. But yeah, I mean, AI, and then yeah, just like Chat GPT, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
It's the boogeyman, but once you figure it out, you learn it's not scary. It's like something you can lean into a little bit. You can't allow it to do everything for you, but kind of get the stuff started and then add your own flavor to it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't use Chat GPT for anything creative.
Okay.
I'm one of the last artists that just still harvest all my creativity from my mind.
Okay.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't have writers or anything like that. I just, I still just dig deep inside my head. But um, yeah, I feel like, Chat GPT is like, shit. Where was Chat GPT at when I was, like, hitting the
Right.
streets out here, man? Oh my God,
Yeah.
it feels like it's a lot easier, but at the same time, it's harder because you know, I didn't. I know what it's like to not have to deal with the streaming a pay cut.
Yeah.
You know, I saw the difference. Like my checks, my monthly checks used to be crazy, and then when streaming came out, it just like kind of went down a lot. You know,
You
so
mentioned that you're an artist that creates everything yourself. You don't have a lot of writers. You don't have a lot of people in the booth with you. How important it is to keep that original, essence of hip hop and being your own creator and writer of your own music.
for me, it's important because my brand and my style of music displays
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah.
You know how I think, and I think for maybe like a singer, it's you know everyone's not focused on the same things, or you know, like a singer or somebody that just kind of is displaying how good they can sing or how good they can like you know be an artist.
Yeah.
They don't, you know, it's okay for people to have writers and things like that because you know no one else can do it like you anyway. So you know I don't knock how people do their thing, but me personally, um you know, I just feel like the things that I say are deep representation of who I am, and I'm very honest on my music. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. I just couldn't see it no other way.
Now you mentioned Bone and giving them flowers because they come back and give to people of Cleveland. Well, you do the same thing. Like I know you make it a point to go to Cleveland and look for talent as much as you can. How does it feel to be on the other side of that coin now, where instead of you just starting out and looking for someone to give you an opportunity, now you're the one coming home and creating those opportunities? And can you name one or two artists that you found along the way that you've been able to find in Cleveland and give them the opportunity to live out their dreams?
Definitely, man. Yeah. I just started to do what I call the Pass the Aux parties, where artists. It's an interactive event where now as a concert goer or event goer, you can come and influence the night with your music, and it's dope. You know, and you know I wish that there were showcases when I was doing my thing, but nothing like this because I like you know when I was younger it was like about like kind of like battle rapping and doing like whatever you can do like freestyle on the spot kind of thing, and I wanted to kind of pivot from that and go to like you know let's hear your finished product as a record that can go into the marketplace. Like let's let's have you know let's hear the only that.
Yeah.
Let's create an environment where we got only the finished product, you know, and cipher style, but like you know with the aux.
Yeah.
And it's great, man. I mean, I discovered artists like Trap One.
Mm.
He's an amazing artist from Cleveland, man.
Okay.
Super dope energy. He's got a really cool record, man, called Chicken Bones. I love it, man. I play it all the time. Um, you got Hemi 2600's got a really cool song right now. There's a kid named Dooney Boy. He kills it.
Yeah.
I mean, every time he comes, he's never missed one. You got people. I got people that got perfect attendance at these things. You know, like there's an artist. His name is DeClee. He's got perfect attendance. Sebastian the third, just to name a few. You know, but there's so many dope artists. Big Yana.
Yeah.
Um,
How
you know,
many have you done? You said perfect attendance, so that leads me to believe you've done quite a few. How many have you done? And then how important is it for the ones that have perfect attendance? Do they fall? Did they go up higher in the scale when you start picking opportunities because they've been so consistent, or does that stand out to you?
yeah. Well, I mean, they get certain perks, and you know, they get a lot of you know we make sure we try to waive all of their any kind of fees they may occur when they coming into the night, you know, and just commemorate them, put them on the website and just give them that extra acknowledgement, you
Yeah.
know. But it's a the Pastor Aux is an environment where everybody can just kind of like network anyway, you know. I want to just create the environment. I mean, people that attend don't a lot of them. I mean, some people don't make music. They just come because they may be a videographer or, you know, they're looking to shoot videos with a new artist or, you know, whatever the case may be. So, you know, it's a really great, it's a really great environment, man. And yeah. I gotta. I'm gonna continue to do them. Continue to do more.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because all these artists that you've named, they're going to be amazed when they hear this replay and be like, "Oh, he knows me!" Like that's a great
Yeah,
thing for someone who's on the rise to have somebody of your stature just say their name. That's the motivation they need to get up tomorrow and go to the studio again. And when people are giving them a lot of pushback, like, "But Chip knows me, so forget what
yeah,
you're saying. I'm going to get mine." So I salute you on that. You were recently
yeah.
on Bootleg Kev's freestyle. You know what I mean? You mentioned, freestyling and how you came up. What's it? How did you get that opportunity to be on that legendary platform, and what was your experience like?
Well, I got a really good friend, and his name is Lil Will.
Yeah.
And Lil Will gave me a call and said, "Hey man, I got Bootleg Kev for you. Uh scheduled on the calendar, man. Can you do the interview and the freestyle?" I'm like, "Yes, I can." For Bootleg Kev, yeah, man. I don't pop out and I don't spread myself too thin, but I've been seeing, how he's been doing his thing, and I've been seeing the artists that he's been having on, and seeing how it's been a thing for them to come and just, it's a dope place to kind of just display your lyrical ability. And yeah, I just came through, and it was great. Yeah, we had a great time, man.
That's interesting to me, because usually, so an artist of your success where you're at right now, a lot of times they look down on these content opportunities. But I love that you understand that was a great piece of content you could do, and
Could do, and
is that is that something you think more about?
more about?
We got to echo.
We got to echo. My bad.
Are you good?
Are you good? I got you. Don't worry.
Okay, but
Okay,
yeah, I was saying I
yeah, I'm
salute you
saying
on that,
I
because
salute
there's
you on
so
that
many
because there's
different
so many
content
different content
opportunities out there. Are
opportunities
there
out
any
there.
more you're
Are there
looking
any
at
more you're
being a
looking
part
at
of?
being a part of? I mean, you want well. First off, I'm very grateful to be here. Taking this opportunity. Just to talk about everything. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really. I don't really have like my my eye on the prize when it comes to what kind of platform I want to go to, and
Okay.
I just kind of I take it all as important. Like I don't really think one platform is more important than the other, because if you're reaching people that I couldn't reach, then it's a beautiful thing. It's expanding me. So it's a lifestyle, but yeah, I mean, shout out to all the dope media outlets and all the platforms that provide artists a platform to do their thing. But yeah, I mean, I'll take them all.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, we're
supremely appreciative
extremely
of you doing this,
appreciative
because
of you
we
doing
don't
this,
do a
because
lot of
we don't do
interviews,
a
so
lot
it's
of
an honor
interviews,
to
so it's an
have
honor
this
to
conversation
have
with
this
you.
conversation with
Um,
you.
do you prefer
Do
being
you
on
prefer
stage in
being
the
on stage in
festivals,
the
or do you
festivals,
prefer
or do
being
you
in the
prefer
studio
being in
making
the
your
studio
classic
making
hits?
your classic hits? You know what? I like them both. But I think they both need their own time. Like when you're in tour mode, when you're in rock star mode, um, sometimes it can kind of clash with a creative environment. So, sometimes I try to like, if we out on the town, if we popping out, then we popped out. If we going in to make some music, we go in, we do it intentionally. Some things are done on the fly, and a lot of times the things that are done on the fly are the dopest. But
Yeah.
I try to be more intentional. You know what I mean?
You got a dope
You
festival
got a
coming
dope
up,
festival coming
420 in
up,
Ohio,
420 in
called Bring Your
Ohio, called
Lungs.
Bring Your Lungs.
We know what
Yeah.
that's
We
about.
know
So
what
how's
that's
it feel to
about. So
come
how's it
home
feel
to
to come
Ohio to
home
be
to
on this
Ohio to be
festival,
on
and
this
what can
festival, and
fans
what
and
can fans
spectators
and
expect when they see
spectators
your show?
expect when they see your show? Oh man, yo, the Bring Your Lungs Festival is about to be something serious, man. I'm excited, man. 420.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in Oberlin, Ohio. It's gonna be myself, YSN Flow, Wi-Fi's funeral, a bunch of artists, man. Bunch of dope artists from the city, Freshie. It's a big list.
Yeah.
But that's also my wedding anniversary.
Oh,
So
congrats.
it's really gonna be like it's gonna be a double header for me, man. It's just gonna be just a great time, man.
Now I know
I'm
you're an
excited. I know you're
entrepreneur
an
as well. You
entrepreneur
did
as well. You did
the indie book we
the indie
mentioned, but
book
you
we
also have
mentioned, but
the
you also
joint
have the
rollers. How
joint
did you come
rollers.
up
How
with
did
that
you come up with
concept,
that
and
concept?
how did it feel
And
when
how did it
Wiz
feel when
endorsed it for
Wiz
you?
endorsed it for you? Man, it was great. I was talking to Wiz about it, and we both were just busy, and then someone put on my radar that he was going to be somewhere downtown. And I'm like, we've been missing each other anyway. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna just come drop it to you at the meet and greet. He like, hell yeah. So we just met up down there, and I just went to go see him like anyone else would. One thing about me, people know me. I'm so sure of myself and secure that I don't really have the pride issues of like, oh man, I don't want to give my product to Wiz at the meet and greet. He needs to make a private little thing just
Yeah,
for
make it
me because
special.
I'm me. I never really had that. You know what I mean? Like I always been somebody that just feels like they're amongst the people.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was a great thing. He loved it. He already knew about it, and yeah, man. The joint roller is just perfect. I use it every day. I use it every time. It's 100% metal, and it's got it has engraved on it some really positive things.
Mm.
To if you just glance at it, it'll say positivity is strong. You flip it around, it says negativity is weak. So it's just it's a really cool piece, man, for sure.
It
Bestseller
says
for
a lot
sure.
about that product because if you know anything about Wiz, he's very critical of people who roll joints for him. It has to have a certain, quality to it. So if your rollers pass that test, it's great. Where can people go get those
Definitely.
at? Are they in stores? Is it online, or how can people support you with that?
Yeah, they can. There's only one place you get in the world that you could get them, and that's at kingchip.com.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Now you got this really dope song you recently released, but I can't shake the feeling. What was the motivation behind creating this song, and how does it feel to get the response you're getting for it?
Oh yeah, man, I can't shake the feeling. Is Man, first of all, that song is just like a song that was not traditional for my catalog or even for anything. It was just when I heard the record, it took me to a particular place, and that's just where everything landed. Um, and then we shot the video for it, and the video came out great. Everything, all the stars just aligned. Um, I actually drove my Cybertruck from LA to Cleveland
Okay.
for my birthday, and stayed there for a month. And during that time, that's when we shot the video for I Can't Shake the Feeling. And yeah, man, that song it definitely means a lot, man, for sure.
Now you said you drove your Cybertruck from Cleveland to California. You know, how does it feel to have that Cybertruck? I see it's in a lot of your videos and pictures and stuff like that. And how do you respond to kind of the pushback that it's getting right now with the world and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I got no notes. It's great. You know what I mean? I put it to the test. I wanted to really see if it was as durable as it's said to be. And yeah, I mean, it ate the country up like a snack, like no problems at all. I've been seeing like whatever. I don't know what the big issue is with what the commotion, but
Yeah.
you know I'm someone who's learned a lot about the grand perspective and the grand scale and what's going on when you zoom out and look at the whole picture.
Facts.
And you know, myself, I don't really see really what the fuss is about. And I'm sure I don't know a lot, but I haven't really heard anything striking.
Yeah.
But the one cool thing that I did find out about the Cybertruck in particular is that it was designed by Sterling Anderson. And he's a black guy out here from I think he's from like Pasadena or something like that. But I even asked Chat GPT, and Chat checked it. It checked out with Chat. Chat was like, yeah, it's Sterling Anderson. Yeah, you know what I mean? I asked him. I asked Chat something simple like, did a black guy design the Cybertruck? And it was like, yes, Sterling Anderson. I'm like, oh no. They're like, he wasn't the team leader, but he played
He's
he's
a
a
designer.
significant
Yeah,
role in the design of the Cybertruck. So
that's amazing.
I was like, wow, why isn't that on the news? You know what I mean? Like, and me, I got my own, theories on a lot of this stuff, but I just follow the money.
Yeah,
Man, I follow the money, and I can see through the fake protesting, just like I did in the pandemic.
yeah.
You got some people that are really pissed about a lot of things, and then you got some issues that aren't really big issues. They're just
They blow them up.
they blow them up. Yeah, they just hyperinflated issues that that we talk about on someone's command, on someone's time,
Yep.
like all at once. You know what I mean? So like who's the program directors? Like what are
Right.
their
Who's turning
names?
this channel for this? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because like who has everyone mad all at the same time about the same things? This is something I keep seeing. So who knows, man? But I just enjoy it.
Now I know you dropped the Charles Worth LP, your last project. Do we have any dates or anything we can circle on the calendar for you for upcoming releases?
Yes, my next album that's forthcoming, is an album that is produced by myself.
Okay. Dope.
Executive produced by myself. There's other producers, but it's executive produced by myself. And the cool thing about this album is that I'm the only guy on the album. There's no dudes on the album except me.
Okay.
And the rest is just all women doing the live instrumentation and the vocal features. So we got artists like Aileen. She's a really dope pianist. She's on keyboard. She's from Russia. Amazing. She plays like AI. It's insane. Then we got Soma on violin. We got Anya on guitar. We got Sylvie Grace on cello. And we're just in the studio just having a ball, and it's just all these women just creating and contributing to the album, with their expertise. And you know what I mean? I think it's a really dope light to see women in, you know what I mean? So that's what I wanted to do. And the name of the album is called the Polygyny Album.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's coming
fine.
soon. I should have a release date soon, but it's expected to be out in the summer.
Okay. Now, with you being in California, I know you record in California. Does that create a lot of opportunities for you to find all these talented artists and people that are band creators? I know it's a whole lot of people out there trying to chase that dream. Does that make that easier for you to find these dope talents?
Well, when I was a kid, we used to go to a lot of the stores around the neighborhood, and the store owners, they weren't from our neighborhood or even our country, but they were there and they were sending money back home to their family running the store. And I kind of feel like that, while I'm out here in Los Angeles, that's kind of what I'm doing. I want to, soak up as much resource and opportunity as I can and send it home. You know what I mean? So I always look to home first, to the city of Cleveland to get artists on board and things like that. But on a grand scale, yeah, there's a lot of dope artists in Los Angeles and LA. It's a melting pot. It's people out here from everywhere. So yeah, I mean, there's no short on dope artists, that's for sure.
I know you were out in LA growing the fires, and you and your team made sure to give back and give supplies and all that stuff. What was that experience like for you being in LA at that moment, and what motivated you to give back to what you guys did?
Yeah, I mean that was crazy. It was a crazy time. A close friend of mine is from Altadena.
Okay.
So he was kind of like my way to help strategically instead of just aimlessly, because I wanted to do something. Me having this SUV, I mean not SUV, this pickup truck, the Cybertruck. I wanted to put it to work, to help people. So that's what I did. And it was great to help, man. I caught a lot of just good times with other artists that are like myself, artists like Denzel Curry,
Yeah,
who's a
facts.
good friend of mine. And he called me one day. He's like, "Yo, man, we got a drive set up, man. You want to get out?" I'm like, "Psh, what do you mean? Of course, send me the address. I'll be there." So we mobbed out for a whole day and a half, just taking supplies and laughing the whole time, and just we made it fun. You know what I mean? But my mom just raised that kind of guy to where if someone needs some help and you can help.
Yeah,
Don't just sit there and we have this attitude like, oh, let me take care of my family and make sure I'm good and stay out the way. And that's okay, but you know, I'm kingship. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Imagine if
facts.
a king just worried about his own family and not his people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that's something that's just in me from has always been who I am. You know what I mean?
Why do you think that
Why
the
do you think
media
that
is
the
not
media is
covering the
not
efforts
covering the
of
efforts
all the
of
artists and
all the
all the
artists
people
and
in
all
the
the people in
California
the
area that
California
did do
area
what
that
you guys
did
did,
do what
came
you guys did,
together and
came
gave back
together
that
and
way? You
gave
don't
back
hear a
that
lot
way?
of
You don't hear a lot of
news articles about
news
it, but I know a
articles
lot
about
of
it, but I
artists
know
that
a
got
lot of
involved
artists
like
that
that.
got
Why do you
involved
think they're
like that.
not
Why do you think they're
highlighting
not
that?
highlighting that?
Well, because I think the news is they're influenced by people that don't share the interests that we have.
Yeah,
See, our interests are, we're here in this life experience together, and we have love, and we want to have camaraderie, and we want to help, and we want to like work together.
yeah,
And it goes against the interests of such people that benefit off of our contributions to society.
yeah.
So their interest is for us, they're on a divide and conquer agenda. And it doesn't matter what the divide is about. It could be about anything. Oh,
Yeah.
Tesla, LGBT, Trump, Kamala, this, that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
As
anything
long
they
as
can.
as long as we can pick a side
Yeah,
and not realize that we are the side, and then there's
yeah,
another side that doesn't share our interests. You know what I mean? And divide and conquer's never not worked. And you have to use lies, and you have to use people against their own people. You have to incentivize people to work against their own people. And it's always worked. So, it's just a part of life, I guess.
you mentioned working
You
with people.
mentioned
I seen
working
you
with
did
people. I
something
seen
with
you did something
AEW
with
superstar
AEW
Swerve.
superstar
How
Swerve.
did you guys
How did
meet?
you
And are
guys
you
meet?
thinking
And are
about
you
doing
thinking
a
about
soundtrack
doing a
for him when he
soundtrack
becomes
for
the
him when he
AEW
becomes the
champion
AEW
very
champion
in the future?
very in the future?
Yeah, man. Yo, shout out to my bro Swerve, man. And shout out to Flash Garments, man. That's my guy who brought me down there, introduced me, and then also my guy Lil Will, as I
Okay.
mentioned earlier. Those are the guys who kind of got me in there. And it was a great experience with the eight with Swerve. Swerve is a legend, man.
Yeah.
Just to have the opportunity to not just watch him ringside, but just kind of be backstage doing skits with him to help promote what's going on. Like it's a dream. I was a kid. I used to watch wrestling, man, like
Okay.
just like any other kid. So it was a really great experience, man. I can't wait to get involved even more.
With that experience,
With that experience,
does that help with your
does that help with
promos?
your
Like a
promos?
lot of times
Like a lot
wrestlers
of
have
times
to have
wrestlers have
promos
to
that
have
entice the
promos that
crowd to go
entice the
buy
crowd to
tickets.
go buy tickets.
Do you implement any
Do
of
you
that stuff
implement
you've
any of that
learned for
stuff you've
like
learned for like
shows and concerts you
shows
have?
and concerts you have?
Oh yeah, man. Definitely. I feel like wrestling and the entertainment industry, when you talk about music, I feel like they're they have a lot of similarities on
Yeah,
how you promote. A lot of marketing tactics are similar.
facts.
So I study, um even now, talking to watching the Vince McMahon
Yeah,
special. I was so impressed and like inspired, and I never thought I would be inspired by Vince McMahon.
yeah.
But this when I watched that, like I never got to see that part of his life and how intense everything was. And man, I haven't been that inspired in a while. So wrestling does kind of like assimilate with music for sure.
Now you got the horror
Now you
movie,
got the
Lord
horror movie,
Willing, and
Lord
the Creek
Willing, and
Don't
the Creek
Rise.
Don't
What
Rise.
was it like
What
being
was
in
it
this
like
horror
being in
movie? And
this
is that
horror
something you
movie?
want
And
to
is
do
that
more
something
of
you
in
want
the
to do
acting
more
arena?
of in the acting arena?
No, that film is almost done.
Oh, it's not out yet. Okay.
Oh, it's not out yet. Okay.
No, it's not out yet. It's a horror film. Lord Willing and the Creek Don't Rise is a popular phrase, especially in the South. But it has a history to it. Lord Willing and the Creek Don't Rise. When you hear that, you have the Lord that has to allow it, and then the creek that also has to allow it. So that it insinuates that the Lord doesn't have any control over the creek.
Mm.
But the creek is not water. These are the Creek Muskogee Indians. You know what I mean? These are pre-colonial Black Indians in America that would rise and revolt, and
Wow.
they would, so the thing was, Lord Willing and the creek don't rise, meaning as long as God allows me to get there and the creek allows me to get there, I'll get there. You know what I mean? But it's a horror film about the creek kind of coming back from the dead. So it's like a zombie film where you kind of almost want to, you don't need you kind of see yourself leaning towards even rooting for the zombie,
Right. Room for
because
the
as
bad.
you learn why they're coming back and why they're, coming after the errors of the people that put them in the position that they put them in, you're like, wait, whoa, so it's a great film, and I can't wait to start shooting it, man. But the script's done.
Okay, dope.
Okay,
Now,
dope.
Yeah.
you've had a lot of
You've
success
had a
in your
lot of
career, as
success in
we've
your career, as
mentioned.
we've
What's your
mentioned.
5-year
What's your
goals now?
5-year
Like when you
goals
sit
now? Like
down
when
and
you
think
sit
about
down and
what's
think
the
about
next
what
5
the
years going
next
to
5
be,
years going
do
to
you have any
be,
goals
do
right
you
now?
have any goals right now?
Oh yeah, man, definitely. I'm a very goal driven person. I always got my dry erase board is packed always. You know what I mean? So film is definitely in my horizon for sure. I feel like music is something that goes into the film. So I'm glad I kind of went the music route first, because
Yeah.
some people go into film first and then they try to get into the music, and I feel like it's kind of backwards. You know what I mean? So um all the expertise I learned in the music industry, I want to bring it over to the film and really just get my ideas out and express myself even more without the limitations of having to rhyme
Yeah.
or be on the beat. You know what I mean? Like I got some really cool ideas and some, my mind is always animated. My mind is constantly just generating content, rap lyrics, jokes, script, you name it. It's just constantly generating. So I want to just, point that into the film. And then I like tech, and I like gadgets, and I love tech. I love anything tech. I always got the new gadgets. I mean, I'm in the Cybertruck. You know what I mean? Like I got another Model X, and I got all the gadgets. I got the DJI microphone. I was trying to put these on before we started,
Okay.
so you can hear me. But you can hear me pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
But
Yeah, I hear you perfectly. Yeah.
but yeah, man. That's my 5-year vision, is just to get more into the film, and yeah, maybe some investment stuff too, real estate stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think intellectual property is the best property. It needs no maintenance.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned the
Now
indie
you mentioned the
artist
indie
guide is
artist guide
created
is
for the
created for
question I'm about to
the
ask you
question
is
I'm about to
advice
ask
you
you
would
is
give
advice
someone
you
that
would
wants
give
to be in the
someone that
music
wants to be in the
industry.
music
So what's
industry.
one
So what's
one bullet
one
point you would
bullet
give
point
someone
you
if
would
they
give
haven't
someone
picked
if
up
they
your book
haven't picked
yet
up your
that they
book
should
yet
do if
that
they're
they
trying
should
to
do if
chase
they're
this
trying
dream?
to chase this dream?
Oh yeah, the book has chapters. One of the I think they're all very important. They're all very important when you look at the table of contents. But I mean, I get real basic with this thing. The first two chapters are personality and hygiene. Before we
Yes.
even get
Yes.
it's like before we even delve into the book, we got to get these two straight
Yeah.
out the gate, because if you got everything right after you skip over these two and you got the rest right, it won't matter. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Ain't nobody gonna be around you.
Ain't nobody gonna be around you.
Yeah. So we address for your personality and hygiene right out the gate, and then we get into songwriting and mixing and mastering. I give examples of software that you might need to start out, hardware, links.
Okay.
There's links in my book that you can click to help. There's nonprofit organizations that are looking to fund artists that are struggling paying bills and rent. They'll fund you so you can just be an artist, and they're nonprofits. So and they're the thing is, there's no one that's really going to promote this stuff to us. You got to just kind of figure out. You got to figure out what you don't know. Which is sometimes it's hard, but that's where I come in.
Now you mentioned your
Now
team
you
a few
mentioned your
times.
team a few
How
times.
important is a
How
team to
important is
you,
a
and who
team
are
to
some of
you,
the
and who are
members
some
of
of
your
the
team
members
that
of
make
your
your
team
day to
that make
day
your day to
the way it
day
is?
the way?
Teamwork makes the dream work. Honestly, man, without a team, it is very, very difficult. I mean, you got to be on like some high performing drugs of focus to to even have a shot at doing any of this by yourself, man. And you can't feel entitled to your team. It's not like you can hire a team off Fiverr
Yeah.
that's going to care about you
Right.
and care about your brand. So a lot of my team members are blessings from God. People that genuinely want to contribute to the betterment of what they see me trying to build, even down to my attorney, my lawyer, Jared Goldstein.
Mm.
Man, this story that we have of how he became my lawyer is just it's a fairy tale story. Um, of course, he was someone that's always been a fan of the music, and then he went into law. And
Hit you up.
what more do you what could be better for an artist than have their lawyer also be their fan? Like, and I
Yeah.
mean, he's like, he knows everything about my brand and so like you can't pay for that. Some things you just can't pay for. You can spend your money on it, but you know a lot of my team are it's situations, it's people like that, from Lil Will to even my wife Nardi, Big Duke, who's one of my core childhood friends, where our fathers grew up together, so we were the second generation. Kevin Mylott, carried me through my incline years, as management, just with and keep in mind, we don't have any expertise in the business. We just all stood alongside each other and said, hey, let's go into this together with the best we know and make something happen. And so we were able to make a name for ourselves.
Now, I highlighted a few of the
Highlighted a
highlights that
few
I've
of the
seen on
highlights
your
that I've seen
Instagram
on
and
your
that
Instagram
Sincere
and that
told me
Sincere
about. What's
told me
a
about.
highlight to
What's a
you in your
highlight to
career
you
that
in your career
you'll
that
never forget,
you'll
and
never
why?
forget, and why?
Wow. One of the highlights of my career, I think, man, that is a good question. Man, I mean, it's been so many.
Yeah, so many
Yeah,
victories.
It's so many high moments of my career, man, that it's just like the highlights just got blurry. Because it's so many great and honestly, it might be because I'm such an appreciative person that my highlights are just like this endless log of things that have happened, and I can't even pick one now.
Okay.
Okay.
But man, it's tough trying to think of your whole career in one thought. There's so many
Now you're good.
things.
I'll ask you a different question.
Ask you a different
I
question.
know you're big on
I
your
know you're
family.
big
You
on your
mentioned your
family. You
wife
mentioned
and
your wife
your family.
and
How
your family.
important is it
How
to have
important is it to
them
have
in your
them
life, and
in
how
your
do you
life? And
balance the
how do
two
you
of being
balance
the
the two of
successful
being the
rapper that we
successful
know,
rapper
and
that
then
we
being the
know, and
loving
then being
father
the
and
loving
husband you are
father and
today?
husband you are today?
You know what? It's all about balance, man. And I think that that's one of the keys to life, is having balance. Um, you know, and sometimes when we have more to balance, we tend to balance out our life even better.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we don't have much responsibilities, we kind of waste time because we can, but when you have to compartmentalize a day, you start to even get more out of it, even with those things that you're dealing with, like family, business, and so on. So, I always strive to be more organized.
Okay.
Um, I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I'm definitely not the least organized for sure.
Right.
But
Right.
it gets overwhelming, man, when you're trying to create and stay in the creative mindset and also be the business person.
Yeah.
You don't want those two wires to get tangled, because then the music comes out stale.
Yeah.
You
Facts.
know,
Yeah,
you
facts.
you want to keep your music mind when you're creating. Don't let anything infringe on that creative mind, even if you have to separate yourself.
Yeah.
I know I have to do that sometimes, even to this day. But
What do you like to do
What
for
do you like
fun?
to
Like
do
if
for
you're not
fun?
in the
Like if you're not in the
studio making this
studio
dope
making
music,
this dope
what are you
music,
doing to enjoy
what are you
yourself?
doing to enjoy yourself?
man, you know what? What I do for a living is how I enjoy myself. To be completely honest, man,
Yep. Yep.
like from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I'm doing what I love, and sleep is only in the way. If I didn't have to sleep, I would just keep
Facts.
on,
Facts.
keep on churning. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm living in heaven, because all these years I've been doing exactly what I wanted to do with my
Right.
life,
Right.
and
Amazing.
I feel like that's wealth. Um, that's wealth for me while I'm here on the earth. Of course, I want to, create some generational wealth,
Yeah.
and monetary. But for me, my life experience that's my wealth. You know what I mean? And my experience is just me just doing what I love all the time.
Now, if you could
Now, if you
collaborate
could
with anyone
collaborate with
living or
anyone
dead,
living or
who
dead,
would it be
who
and
would
what
it
would you
be and
create?
what would you create?
I would do a record with Tupac and Pimp C.
Woo!
Woo!
Yeah, Chip the
Right.
Ripper, Tupac, and Pimp C. Oh my God. Oh
I'm
man.
thinking of it right
I'm
It's,
thinking
now.
of it
That's
right
amazing.
now.
it's overwhelming me right now. Something just came over me right now. I was like, whoa, just thinking about that is crazy. Because I got some records with some really, I got a record with Scarface, and MJG and Pusha T and I mean so many, just colossal artists, man. Travis Scott's, and these guys are at the top of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've always been someone that has only had good, well wishes for people, and support. So yeah, man. I mean, I would love to work with Curtis Mayfield if he could come back alive, man. Curtis Mayfield, he's like my favorite artist of all time. You know,
Well, you know
but
what they're doing with
You know what
AI.
they're
We
doing with
mentioned it
AI? We
earlier. You
mentioned
might
it
be able
earlier.
to
You might
put
be able
something in
to
that
put
chat
something in that
GPT to
chat
give you
GPT to
a
give you
Curtis
a
Mayfield
Curtis
sample.
Mayfield
You never
sample.
know.
yeah.
You never know.
Last question
Last
for you, man. I
last
really
question for you, man. I
appreciate the
really
time to talk
appreciate the
tonight.
time to talk
What do you want to
tonight.
say to your
What do you
fans
want to
and
say to your
supporters
fans
who've
and
been rocking with
supporters
you
who've
all
been
these
rocking
years?
with you all these years?
Yo, I just want to let my fans and supporters who've been rocking with me for all these years know that I love and appreciate them with all my heart. And without them, I really couldn't be much of anything, man. So, just thank you. Just, man, I wish there was a word that was more impactful and more intense than thank you,
Yeah.
because I would definitely be using it. You know what I mean? Like, definitely, aggressive thank you. You know what I mean? Like, for real.
And then, so the
And
single
then,
right
so the
now that all
single
the
right now that
DJs
all the
should be supporting
DJs should
is
be
"I Can't
supporting is
Shake
"I
That
Can't Shake
Feeling."
That Feeling."
Where can people go
Where
hear
can
that?
people go
And
hear that?
is there
And
any
is there
merchandise
any
or anything you're
merchandise or
selling yet
anything you're
for that?
selling yet for that?
Yeah, I can't shake the feeling is the new single from the Charles Worth LP. And there's another single from that album, which is one of my favorites. It's called Not the Weather, featuring Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
Such a great record. And yeah, it's all on kingchip.com, or my Instagram at kingchip. Um, yeah, man, YouTube, man, subscribe to everything, man. Just, come show me love, man. I show love back.
Definitely. Well, I
Definitely.
appreciate your
Well, I
time tonight. I
appreciate
hope
your
you have a
time
great
tonight. I
night,
hope you
fam.
have a great night, fam.
Hey, you too, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
You too.
You too.
Love, man. Thank you.